Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Cartersville City Council to order. If you'll please stand for our invocation and pledge.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this assembly. We thank you for the business we are about to do for our city, to keep our citizens comfortable and safe. We ask your blessing to be in this meeting, to guide and direct us, to keep us on one accord. And we'll be so grateful. We ask these blessings in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Ulmer, the roll, please.
Carrie Hodge, Ward 1.
Here.
Jay Stepp, Ward 2. Carrie Roth, Ward 3.
Here.
Calvin Cooley, Ward 4.
Here.
Gary Fox, Ward 5.
Here.
Catherine, Ward 6.
Here.
Thank you, Meredith. First order of business is the approval of our council meeting minutes from our July 19th meeting. And council, you've had an opportunity to look those over, and that would be the chance to make any edits to those. And if there are none, a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve. I'll second the motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Menino, would you please get us started off with AZ 18-01 tonight, please?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Well, I don't think you did know, this is actually a second reading. There have been no additions or changes since the first reading. It has been properly posted and advertised, and there appears to be no conflicts of interest. This particular request has 3 road frontages located along Felton Road, Rice Drive, and Roving Hill Circle. It's 2 lots. One of them has an existing house that's currently being refurbished on it, and the application went before the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the annexation of these properties along with the R20 zoning designation. With that, we recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Randy at this point? Thank you, sir. I'll open up a public hearing relative to the zoning portion of case AZ 18-01, and anybody wishing to step forward and speak for or against may do so at this time. And seeing none, I will close the public hearing on the zoning portion of the application. I will now open up a public hearing for the annexation portion of file AZ 18-01. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing relative to that. Council, I will now turn it over to you for any further questions, clarifications, and we'll take up the issue of the annexation of this application first.
Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, and now we'll move on to the zoning portion of that request.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Reinhardt, you've got the next item, please. Actually, the next 2.
Honorable Mayor and Council, I bring before you tonight a resolution 14-18. If you remember a couple of meetings ago, you authorized myself to make some adjustments to some information that was given to me regarding customer accounts. The impending criminal investigation now totals $58,879.98, which is an increase from the original dollar amount. I ask that you approve this resolution so I can make my adjustments accordingly.
Okay. Questions or discussions on this item?
Make a motion. I'll second the motion.
Was your motion to approve? I'm sorry. Thank you. And your second is to approve?
Thank you.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please, Tom.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Council, on 6/21/2018, Council approved updating an LGI resolution for the designated water and sewer bond proceeds to be placed in. While I was trying to transfer those funds from U.S. Bank to Georgia Fund 1, I was told that U.S. Bank now needs to be added to the resolution as they were a part of the custodian in the bond documents. I am asking the approval for the mayor to sign the documents for U.S. Bank to be added to the LGIP resolution.
Okay. Questions, comments, or motions?
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Tom. Chief McCann, you've got the next item, please, sir.
Good evening. This is a request to trade in our existing 12-gauge shotguns, which are Mossberg 500s, and purchase Remington 870, 51 Remington 870 shotguns. The total cost is going to be $18,710 with the trade-in of the Mossbergs, and we'll be using state forfeited U.S. currency and abandoned property to purchase these. The only bid I have is Smyrna Police Distributors because it required a specific, the existing Mossbergs were Class 3 shotguns. So I recommend Smyrna Police Distributors.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or discussion? If there's none, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve. I'll second that motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Thank
Okay, just
you.
as a point of note, you got one quote back, but you put out several different
I
quotes.
put out 3.
I knew
I
that
received
you
3,
did, yeah.
but that's the only one that's going to work.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Hasselbrock, you've got the next couple, please, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Yeah, I come before you tonight with the tree trimming and right-of-way clearing contract. Electric Cities of Georgia bids out this contract, and we're a member of Electric Cities of Georgia. They bid it out for 3 years, and we're in our 3rd year of the contract, and we've been using the same vendor, you know, for the entire length of this contract. And we ask that council approve a continuation of using Trees Unlimited to do our trimming in the fiscal year 18-19. And that amount is $98,900, and we're recommending Trees Unlimited to be awarded this contract. And we do budget, this is a budgeted amount in fiscal year 18-19.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Don on this? If not, motion will be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please, Don.
This next item involves purchasing 2 transformers for industrial customers that are expanding in our service territory, and that would be Aquafill and Piedmont Resin Supply. And we put this out for bid, and we had about 6 bidders on it, and the low bidder is Gresco. Each unit the price of the unit is $31,470, so times 2, that's $62,940 would be total purchase for both transformers. And Gresco is the lowest price per unit, the lowest total ownership cost, and the shortest delivery time. We're starting to see some delivery times of like 20 weeks. And they're going to deliver in about 14 weeks. So, you know, these companies sometimes can't hold their projects up for 20 weeks. So we have to be aggressive in our purchasing of them. But we are recommending a low-cost bidder and of $62,940.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve. I'll second the motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And motion carries unanimously.
Thank
you, sir. Mr. Porter, you've got the next 2, please.
Yes, Mayor. The first item is Cogs Dale training. We had a new IT person come over from the police department, TJ LaFew. Needs to get some update on Cogs Dale. The cost of the training is $13,440 plus travel and lodging. Recommend approval of the training up to $17,000. Should cover the cost of the ancillary costs.
Okay, any discussion? If not, a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Continue on, please, Dan.
The next item is the GDOT airport grant approval. We have another grant coming through for the airport in the total of $1,597,251, a 2.5% match, which is the local match at $79,863. Majority of this is for land easement acquisition. I recommend approval of this grant application for the mayor to sign any documents related to the grant. As I mentioned in the work session, there is potential that we may request from GDOT, once we core the runway, to swap the use of these funds. But that'll be something we're still waiting on, but I do like to get a council approval of the total grant request.
Thank you. Any discussion? And if not, a motion?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Dan. Mr. Hill, you're next up, and then Mr. Jones, you're on deck.
Evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. What we're asking here is for y'all to approve contract extensions for our rates with Southern Natural Gas Pipeline. They had entered into negotiations to extend our contracts with them back in the early spring. They have, this was when Gary Riggs was still healthy.
Walking around.
He's still walking around. Him and we have some DC attorneys, and they had been part of that. They had sent that on to the FERC for approval. That's come back, and we need to approve those, please. But what that will do is it will give us a 1% decrease in our rates effective September the 1st, and then next September the 1st, we get a 7% reduction in rates. So that's a good thing for us.
Is this at any, and I should have asked you this in the work session, I'm sorry.
No.
Is this in any way related to the Transco line?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is, I didn't know if it was part of the leveraging out of.
No, it has nothing to do with it.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Any questions, comments, or motions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
Thank you.
carries unanimously. Thank you, Michael. While Bob makes his way up, we do have an item to add that Bob will be presenting. I'll take a motion now to add that item.
I'll second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
One item added. Thank you, Council. If you'll do the water testing contract, we'll handle that added item last. Bob,
Sure,
please.
okay. Up first, every year about this time of year, we go through this exercise. EPD offers a program whereby they will actually perform water quality testing that is required for regulatory compliance. This is done through the state-run lab. They coordinate sample bottles, scheduling, method compliance. They do it all. They send us a cooler, we fill the cooler up, send it back to them. There's several benefits to using this program, not the least of which is the convenience of the scheduling, but also the method compliance, which can be a more complex issue than you might imagine, making sure the lab runs the correct method. Additionally, we find some customers, some people appreciate the fact that we are using a disinterested third party to test our water. The regulatory agency is actually testing the water, and they have no reason to do anything but report the actual value they find. It is also cost competitive, and it's a program that we've taken advantage of for several years. The pricing is tiered based on connections. That pricing has been stable for the last 5 years. Again, this year it's $9,200, and would recommend that for your approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Bob on this item? If not, a motion's in order.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks. Next item.
Yes, sir. Next up is a memorandum of agreement between the Atlanta Regional Commission and City of Cartersville. Bartow County will also be a party to the agreement. And what it is it is an agreement that sets forth the responsibilities and duties of each party to engage in what will be what is the results of a court case that was settled recently in 2014. The state of Georgia, Cobb County, and the ARC all sued the Corps of Engineers, and their complaint essentially was that it should not take 37 years for the Corps to make a determination on a reallocation request. The court found that was excessive and ordered that the Corps make a determination in 36 months. We happen to have an allocation request that fell within the court's order, so we have an opportunity to become a party to that working group to resolve this in the next 36 months. In order to do that, we have to execute the agreement. That will allow us access to attorney-client privileged information, will allow us access to consultants that they use to further the process along, to coordinate and interact with the Corps. There is a fee involved with that. The total cost for the city and the county will be $200,000. We have decided to split that evenly. So your authorization tonight would be for our half of that for $100,000. The county will contribute $100,000 as well, and we will begin the process in early September. Early September, I believe, is where we will begin. So would ask for your approval of this.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Bob?
This is an annual payment?
Yes.
Do we know how many annuals this will be?
We do not. We do have language in the agreement that if it gets too painful for us at any point in time, we can walk away. And the other point that I would make that I think is critical that I didn't mention earlier, no one in here should assume that this is a guaranteed thing. We could put this money into it and have nothing to show for it. That is a possibility, but I believe that this is the best chance that the city and county are going to have to gain additional access to water out of Allatoona that we've had in honestly in decades.
Any other questions? If not, a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion to approve, execute the order.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Bob. You've got the added item for a panel repair.
Yes, reluctantly we have to add an item. We had an employee back a truck into a motor control panel that operates the number 10 settling basin. What it did was it caused the support frame that holds all these, looks like a breaker box in your house, to shift. It sheared the conduits, cut the conductors inside, and pulled wires loose everywhere. Once the dust settled and we got ourselves back under control, we requested that Patrick Kelly come out and give us a quote for repair. They have done work in the plant on similar systems. We have a familiarity with them. They have a familiarity with these systems, and they gave us a price of $5,800 to repair what we can see is wrong. Now, we may fix this, and I may be back in here with something else that we didn't know was broken until we got into it, but this will at least get us started and hopefully get us back in business. I do regard it as an emergency repair. The loss of that basin is a loss of 2.5 million gallons of production capacity, and we would like to get it back as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries
Thank you.
unanimously. Thank you, Bob. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council. This is a request by the Parks and Recreation Department to host a festival area for the Atlanta Track Club. This will be on September the 22nd as part of their Wingfoot Classic. They have approximately 5,000 runners there that day. It's turned in about our second largest event that we have of the year. But they've requested a festival zone for the community race and their volunteers. They've agreed to provide recreation staff and security with the police department for that. They've already since I've turned this memo in, they've already received their special event permit, and we're just waiting on their certificate of liability insurance. And I make that request for the council to approve this as a Sam Smith Park as a festival zone.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, a motion's in order.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Greg. Ms. Brock, you have the next item.
Yes, Mayor and Council. This is an annual dues request for membership and participation in the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission. It's for fiscal year 18-19, and the total amount is $20,978.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion? If none, a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Sanders, you've got our final item of the evening, I do believe.
Thank you, Mayor. We're seeking permission for the mayor to sign a grant application. It's a TAP grant, which stands for Transportation Alternatives Program. It's to look at putting sidewalks on Grassdale Road from 41 to Cassville Road. And we're also seeking permission for a task order with Rent McDuff to, at a not to exceed price of $8,800 to help with the items necessary for the grant application, like a cost estimate and typical sections and need and purpose statement, concept report, things like that.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? If not, a motion.
Motion to approve. Second motion.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Any other business that needs to come before council this evening?
Well, I would like to mention one thing.
You would, yes, you would.
Just mayor and council, so you're aware, our comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year that ended in 17 qualified for the GFOA Certificate of Achievement and Excellence for Financial Reporting. It's the highest form of recognition for governmental accounting and financial reporting, and I would like to thank Tom and his staff for all the work that they do every year and for helping us achieve this excellence award. So thank you.
Congratulations, Tom. Well done. Almost forgot about that. Thanks for that. Anything else that needs to come before council tonight? Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned. Did not get her off.